Just saying.
You have water with you?
No, that wouldn't be a good idea. Thank you. Over the last 2 weeks, we've heard about so many topics, from GMOs to, sorry, can I restart real fast? I'm sorry. Okay. Over the last 2 weeks, we've heard about so many topics, from GMOs to the Paris Agreement to prison reform. There's something that a lot of these topics have in common. And that's that all the topics that I just mentioned and many more have legislation surrounding them, and if a new policy were to be voted in or a new politician were to be voted in that has these ideas in mind, then change could be made. Whether you like it or not, politics affects so much of our daily lives and the things we care about. That's why today I'm going to tell you why you, as a college student and young adult, should vote. And in order to do that, I'm going to, one, say why young people are not voting, why young people should vote, and how you can be an informed voter. Young voters, which I'll define as those aged 18 to 29 for the remainder of my speech, consistently vote at the lowest voter turnout rates of any age group. Based on data released by the Census Bureau in 2016, in the 2016 election, the voter turnout percent was 61.4% for all voters that are of age. However, for the 18 to 29-year-old age group, the voter turnout was only 46.1%, almost 15% below the average. This is a trend that's been observed since well before 1980, and there are quite a few reasons for this. Although a lot of older sources say that the reason young voters aren't voting is that they simply don't care about politics, this is becoming an increasingly incorrect fact. In a study done by James Sloan in 2012, it finds that although youth voter participation has stayed relatively the same since 1980, youth participation in other forms of political activism like protests, boycotts, and petitions have increased by over 10% over that same time period. This just goes to show that young people are politically active and care about issues, they're just not showing up to the polls. In a study titled Political Literacy Cuts Both Ways from 2003, Therese O'Toole interviewed young adults from a variety of backgrounds, and he found that a primary reason that young adults aren't voting is that they think that politicians don't have their best interests in mind and just are out of touch with young people. Another reason that's especially, that young people right now especially aren't voting is an overall distrust of the government and the media that's portraying the government because of the current political climate in our country. Another reason from the book Why Don't Americans Vote, which was published in 2016, is that young people don't see voting as an effective means of making change in society, and they see their vote as only one vote. And while you may even find yourself agreeing with some of these reasons, there are so many reasons why we, especially our age, should vote. The democratic process and our right to vote is something that's been fought for hard by so many people. From there being literacy tests for Black citizens to the fight for equal voting rights for all races to the women's suffrage movement, so many people have fought hard for our ability to vote. Women couldn't even vote until 1920, which is less than 100 years ago, and that alone amazes me. Also, so many people in our world today still don't live in a democratic country and don't get to participate in the democratic process that we do, so it isn't something that should be taken lightly, and we should take responsibility and exercise our right to vote. Also, every vote counts. In a study done by the Pew Research Center conducted in 2018, our generation, which is ages 18 to 35, accounts for 31% of the voting population. If all 31% of our generation voted, we would have the ability to make massive changes to our government. Especially since policies voted in now will affect us as we become a part of the working force and become mothers and fathers. the things that we're voting on now really do have an impact, and 31% has the power to change just about any election. The beauty of democracy is that every vote really does count. And lastly, us as young people are becoming an incredibly diverse population, and we have different values than that of our aging counterparts. Even if our country's political system is messed up and our politicians don't uphold your values, the only way to change this is by voting. As cited in the 2018 article, 9 Reasons We Need Young Voters More Than Ever, it states no one's going to vote in the best interest of young people except for young people, and I find that to be extremely true. We've heard a variety of topics people are passionate about just over the last few weeks, and it just goes to show that us as young people have things we care about and we have a strong set of morals, and our voting habits should reflect that. So now I want to talk about some things that you can do to be an informed voter and take part in the voting process. The first thing that you can do is register to vote. I think a lot of people sometimes think that registering to vote is really hard or takes a lot of time, but it's actually super easy. I did it in my high school econ class. You guys may have as well. But if you haven't, it's super easy, and especially in California, they really want you to register. On our campus, we even have voter registration drives, which are a super easy way to register. Also, even if you aren't originally from California, you can still register to vote in California using your address here. In a study conducted in 2008 on the Sam Houston State University campus, it found that students that registered at a voter registration drive on a campus are their voter turnout was 76%, which is well above the 46.1% average of most people our age. And if you don't want to vote in SLO County and would rather use your permanent address, you can also call in and request an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot. I just did it a couple weeks ago, and it takes like 5 minutes, and it's super easy, so that's an option as well. But above all else, not being registered should never be a reason not to vote. Second, it's the easiest it's ever been to be an informed voter and to find information on issues because of social media. In a study done in 2011 by Tom Backer, it proved the internet not only makes it easier for us to get information on current events, but there's also a direct correlation between if you're using the media for news and the voter turnout. So maybe following a couple news sources on Twitter or subscribing to a news site's email list can not only make you a more informed voter, but also make it more likely that you'll vote in the future. There's really no reason in today's world, with all of the media that we're constantly surrounded by, why you shouldn't be informed on not only current events, but also candidates' platforms and policies that are going to be voted on. And finally, go out and vote. Whether you're into politics or not, find politicians that uphold your set of morals and are interested in policies that you care about, and vote for them. The primaries were just this past Tuesday, so the next time that if you want to vote in California will be for the general elections, which is November 6th. Or if you want to vote in the state that you're originally from, the date may vary a bit. But above all else, our generation has the power to change so much, and no matter your political leanings or preference, always remember that your vote counts.